Hey guys, this is Shavetta Porter. I am the CEO and owner of Restore Life Behavioral Health. And I want to come to you guys today to talk about something that I think is necessary and I think we've lost over time. But first, I would like to say it is February 2020 and it is Heart Health Awareness Month. So happy Heart Health Month to you guys. And also, it is the Love Month, which is February the 14th. So, happy Valentine's Day to you guys as well. So, I'm going to be looking down a little bit. I made a few notes, but I wanted to talk about this because this is something that I get a lot in counseling. And I think that it will really be beneficial to you guys who are involved with children and you have children, your mentors, you are teachers, you are professors, you are coaches, and I think this will really be helpful for you. So it's called home training, one-on-one. And so some of you guys that are from the old school may have heard of this word before. And people make statements such as, oh, this child doesn't have any home training, or your parents taught you well. They've really, really spent time with you and trained you at home. So if I was to give home training a definition, what I would say is that this is a person that is at some level a caretaker, a caregiver, that is willing to teach, train, invest, educate, and spend time with a child, okay? So a lot of times we don't understand what it means when someone says, this child has a lot of home training, okay? That means that somebody took the time with this child to actually train, invest, and develop this child. They put good manners into this child. And I don't want to jump ahead of myself, but that's ultimately my definition of home training. This is someone that outside of the school setting is teaching this child the appropriate ways to respond to things, to know things, to be cultured, to be developed, and to be the child that they should be. Okay? So what is it? When we really look at what is home training, home training is definitely when you actually stop for a minute and teach a child. So a lot of times as parents and caregivers, what we do is we go straight into punishment without teaching. Okay? Punishment without teaching is not properly parenting and training a child. Okay? I'm going to give you an example of that. What that looks like is this. If you are telling a child to do a chore, okay, so you got to make time to actually walk the child through the steps. So if you're telling a child, I would like for you to go out there and cut that grass. You have to go out there, tell them to check for certain things, to pull the lever, to wait for certain things, to watch the child, cut it properly, tell them which row to put it in, if you want it straight, if you want it sideways, you have to tell them to clean the blade. You have to tell them a lot of things that's going to help them to know what to do. For the females, I'm going to give you another example of that. If you're, and these are gender role examples that I'm giving you. Everybody doesn't have the liberty of giving just gender roles if you're an only child or if you're a child that's needed a little bit more. But if you're telling your child to go and wash the dishes, okay, a lot of parents assume that a child has watched them or knows exactly what it means to wash dishes. They don't, okay? They don't. So you have to stop, have patience, and teach this child exactly what they need to do, step by step. Clean out the sink, okay? Put water in there and wash all the dirt out of it. Put hot water in the sink. Plug it up. Let the hot water run. Put dishwasher in the sink. Put the dishes in the water. Let them soak for a little bit, okay? Then you take the time. You can get them a sponge. You can get them a rag, whatever it is. So if you're not taking the time because your life is so busy, because you don't know yourself, and you're just saying, get it done. I don't have time to tell you every little detail. Well, let me tell you something. If you don't have time to tell them every little detail, then they're not going to know. How are they going to know if you don't teach them? Right? So ultimately, what home training is you having the patience to teach your child well. Okay? You having the time to check up and see, okay, you got it right this time. Let's try it again this time. I'm going to stand here and watch you. You got to jump in there a little bit and make sure they understand the task. You have to use a skill called active listening. What active listening means is, what did I just say? If I told you to do this, repeat it to me and summarize it so that I know that you got it. Okay? Once I know that you got it, now I'm going to give you a high five. And the next time you do it, I'm going to stand there and make sure that you got it. Okay? So when you're going straight into, I told you to wash your dishes, you don't do it, pop, pop, pop. That is not teaching. That is not parenting. That is not mentoring. That is not coaching. That is not home training. Okay? So a lot of children have anxiety because they have parents that lack patience. Okay? We're passing our children off to teachers and expecting for a teacher to parent our children. The teacher's job is to teach them academics. Academia does not teach a lot of things that should come along with parenting, mentoring, training a child at home. Okay? So that is what it is ultimately. So the next thing is, what is it not? What it's not is using bully tactics to teach children. We want our children to respect and honor us. We don't want them to be terrified of us. So they're just faking it until they make it, or until some other sweet human being comes along and trains them where you did not. Okay? So it is not punishing for every little thing where you did not teach. Okay? What it is not is using humiliation to teach and train children. So we don't get them in front of people and humiliate them and tell everybody all of their mistakes, what they're doing wrong, and, just to get them to change behaviors. Okay? That's bully tactics. Bully tactics are not parenting. That's not teaching your children home training. Okay? So we don't use punitive actions prior to teaching and training. We don't use bully tactics to train and teach. And we don't parentify them, which is make them do things that is above the level of what they can handle. Okay? So one of the things that I do teach parents is to use SMART goals. SMART goals can help you because when you're dealing with children, it'll give you those 5 steps to see if what you're saying is easy for them to know what you're saying. So the S, of course, is specific. Are you specific in what you're asking? So if you're just saying something like, go in there and clean the house, well, that is very broad. Okay? That is not specific. So if you say go in there and put the groceries up, they should, if you've told them where everything goes, should know where everything goes. Okay? The M is for measurable. Is it something that we can actually measure to see that the person did what they were supposed to do? So you can't really measure clean the house, because cleaning the house can look different for different days, different moods, different people. So some people say they want baseboards clean, they want windows washed, they want dishes clean, they want bleach, the smell of bleach, they want fabuloso, they want a whole bunch of things. Measurable means get good grades. Okay, if you haven't told them how to measure that, some parents are okay with C's. That wasn't okay in my house. Some parents are good with B's. Some parents want only A's. So, but you also, have to be realistic, if you're not realistic about goals, then you're not going to, you know, it's not going to be able to get done. So that leads to the next one, which is the A, which is attainable. Is the goal attainable? Can the child actually do it? So if you're asking a 7-year-old to clean the house, I mean, some people would think this is funny, because they assume that everybody know these things, but everybody do not know these things. So a 7-year-old cannot attain that level of a responsibility. Okay, so I'm not going to say they know better if no one has ever taught them better. That's not attainable. R is relevant. So if you keep punishing a child for what they did last year, and then everything they do keeps coming back, up, and you bring that up to them, they're not going to feel like, they're going to feel very defeated, and they're not going to feel like they're going to ever be able to make you happy or please you or do anything right in your eyes. And that's the wrong message that you want to send to a child, is that they're just a failure. Okay, they're just a failure, and everything they do is going to be wrong. Okay, and so you do have to make sure when you are teaching home training that there are some little celebratory milestones. If you tell them to do 5 things and they do 2 right, celebrate the 2. That's going to encourage them to do step 3, 4, and 5 better. Okay, you have to learn how to celebrate them and make them even want to engage, because they are human beings. Just because they're children does not mean that their little feelings don't matter, or they don't need the same things that us as adults need. And the last one is time-based. Okay, so if you're telling the child to make sure that their room is cleaned up, and you've trained them on how to do that, and they know how to do that, then you don't say clean your room up, because they're going to wait 5 minutes till you get home to clean that room up. I'm just telling you, because they're having a good time while you're gone. So you can tell them by lunchtime, I need you to have lunch. You eat lunch or have breakfast already in, have lunch, and by 1 o'clock, so if you're getting home by 5, by 1 o'clock, I need you to have that room clean. Okay, and then one of the things that you can do is there's this handy dandy thing called FaceTime, and I'm a iPhone person. I don't use Android, so I don't know if Android has this type of feature or not. But one of the things that I tell my son is turn your FaceTime on and let me see the room. So if I see things that are not done, he can have a way to go back and fix those things, and by the time I get home at 4, 5, or 6, I know it's done. So these are just steps that you can take to help your child to become better at being little human beings, being better citizens. And one of the things that I always tell parents, I have a son, and I know that eventually he's going to be somebody's husband, and eventually he's going to be the father, or at least that is my hope and my prayer. So as a parent, I always want to make sure that I have done my due diligence to make sure that he is prepared for the real world. That is one of the major benefits, I believe, of teaching your children home training, because he doesn't have kids, but I already love my grandbabies, okay, before they get here. So I need to make sure that this young man is developed and ready for the real world, so that he can go out and do us a service of, representing the Porter family well, being prepared to be the best person that he can be in every environment that he goes in. And as a parent, it's going to help you, because they're going to be more engaged and invested in helping the family out, helping the tribe out, helping the village out, because you have taught them. Okay? There's a scripture that says, train a child up in the way that they should go, and when they are old, they will not depart from it. So if you put those seeds in the ground now, mom, dad, uncle, aunt, coach, mentor, church member, if you put those seeds in the ground now, neighbor, whomever you are out there that are involved in the lives of children, you